Hey to all the tweens out there, happy Tuesday, welcome back. I hope that you're all having a great week. This week we have been talking about, do you remember? Remember what it was? Kindness. That's right, we've been talking about kindness. And we talked on Sunday about how God wants us to show warmth, compassion, generosity to people who are in need, just like Jesus did. And one time when I was going home from school, I was heading to my bus. Every day I took a bus that would go down and drop me pretty close to my house. And it wasn't one of those yellow school buses, it was actually a city bus, and it had these doors in the front and in the middle. But to get on, you had to have a bus pass. And if you live far enough from the school, they would give you a pass to get on the bus. So every day I would have to show my pass, I'd get on, and I'd go right and stand at the middle doors so that at the first stop I could get off and just go home. I didn't always get along with people in my school, and so I wanted to get off that bus usually as soon as possible. And there's a sign that says don't stand at this door, but I always stood there and it was fine. And that day I just really wanted to go home. I've been having a bad day. I was gonna stop at the corner store and buy myself a snack, get maybe some delicious Skittles or a slushie, and just enjoy my walk home while I had something delicious to fill my tummy. And that's all I had in my mind, was just get on the bus, get to my door, get off, get deliciousness, and go home and enjoy my evening. But as I was going towards the bus, this kid from my class runs up from the other way and he's like, "Zach, I don't have my bus pass. I don't know how I'm going to get home." And now these bus drivers were really strict. They would check, and if you didn't have your pass, they would kick you off. Or they would ask you for money to pay for your fare, because sometimes people would take the bus who actually didn't live far away, they just wanted the bus, and you could do that if you paid. And so he'd come up to me, he's like, "I don't know how I'm gonna get there." And I knew that in my pocket, I had some money, and that I could give him that money. It wasn't $10, it was probably only like $2 or $3. But I was like, I knew I could give him that money and he could get on the bus and go home. But I really wanted to buy that slushie. And in my head, I went back and forth, and I was like, what is a kind thing to do here? And I remembered a story from the Bible. If you turn in Luke chapter 10, can you find it? Luke 10, scroll in your phones, wherever. In Luke chapter 10, if you go down, you see the story of the Good Samaritan. We're not going to go through it all now, but I know many of you have heard it. It's this guy, he gets beat up, he's on the side of the road, and he just needs a kind person to come and help him. And as he's there, person after person who he thought would help him just walks away and leaves him there. And as he looks off in the distance, another man comes, a Samaritan, somebody from a neighboring town who they did not get along with. This man's like, this guy's not gonna like me. His whole family doesn't like my whole family. Why on earth would he help me if these other nice people didn't? But the Samaritan comes, he helps him up, and this is what it says in Luke chapter 10, starting at verse 33. But a Samaritan traveled, he came where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring oil and wine. Then he put the man on his own donkey and brought him to the inn to take care of him. And then in the next part, it talks about how the Samaritan offered to pay anything that was needed to help this man get better. He went to the innkeeper and he's like, "Here, take this money. If it's not enough, I'll be back here in a couple days on my way home. And when I get home, I will give you whatever this man needs." And as I thought about that story, I was like, this is how we're supposed to be. This is what Jesus wants. And so I took my money and I was like, you know what, man? You need to get home. You take the bus, and here's some money I have. You can use it to get on that bus. And he's like, "Thank you so much." And he ran away. And I didn't really talk to him that much after that. But something else interesting happened. I got on the bus late because of that conversation and how long it took me to decide to give him the money. And I ended up not being able to get to my normal spot. And the bus doors that day on the way home actually flew open as the bus went around a corner. And if I had been standing where I normally stood, I would have been on the street in the middle of an intersection. And because of that delay, because of that guy coming and asking me, taking the time to give him the money and say, here you go. I didn't end up in the hospital that day. And if you're not kind, well, does that mean you're going to go to the hospital? No, of course not. But it's just an example of what it means that when we are kind to those around us, that means that we are part of God's mission here, that we are acting on behalf of God. And God is always there to watch over us as we continue to do what He has called us to do. So continue looking for ways to be kind. Make sure to share with people who need you to share with them. And I hope that you all have a great rest of your week. God bless.